I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever?
One life,
forever,
one love,
and ever.
one soul.
Today's July 30th, 2019. I'm BrentNally. I'm in Rockland, California at New Life Chiropractic with the co-founder, Dr. Tim Smith. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Dr. Tim Smith and I have been friends for about 10 years or so. We met in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area where we both lived, and now we're both up here. I just moved up here and really excited to be here and learn a lot about your practice.
Yes, absolutely. Well, looking forward to really going through some of the great things that we're doing here and how helping a lot of people naturally live a better life.
Awesome. So my channel on YouTube here is all about living your best life, breaking old habits, and creating new healthy habits. And so a lot of folks who might be watching my channel might not know much about chiropractic. So we're going to start off just giving a brief introduction of maybe talk about why you got interested in chiropractic, when that happened, and then how you see the science evolve over the time that you've been in it and what you're trying to do to carry that forward, and then maybe even like what your practice differentiates from other chiropractors. Like if you're in this general east of Sacramento area, why would we come to New Life Chiropractic?
Got it. I first got into chiropractic when I was in high school. Like many people, an injury led me to my first chiropractor. I hurt myself snowboarding and hurt my back, and like a lot of people, I thought, chiropractic, back pain. So I went in, and thankfully I went to the right chiropractor because he didn't just treat my back pain so I felt better. He actually explained to me some of the principles of how chiropractic really works. And it intrigued me to such a degree that I started going on a regular basis and started noticing not just that my back pain was better, but I was breathing better and a lot of my asthma issues went away. I wasn't getting sick as often, that I had more energy, I was sleeping better. I started to notice all these ancillary benefits, and the more I got to know the chiropractor and ask about what he was doing, he explained to me, yeah, this is very common because what we're doing here is not just cracking your back, we're actually affecting the function of your brain and nervous system, which controls and regulates the health and healing of your entire body. So it's totally normal to see other things improve as a result of your body actually expressing a higher level of health. And that was so cool to me because every other doctor I went to was just take this drug, do this. There's nothing we can do. There's no cause, therefore no treatment or no way to prevent it. And I was sick of that. Probably like a lot of people are. Tired of taking drugs, tired of masking symptoms, tired of dealing with pain and other health issues. That was me, and thankfully at a young age I learned there's a better way. And as I learned more and more, eventually that brought me to chiropractic school, and there's many things that have happened since then that really brought me to the level of care that we're doing now, which is quite a bit unique.
Definitely, and we'll get into that. Thanks for telling that story. I think we got the medication freedom trash can here, which fits into that story pretty well.
Definitely.
You can see one of the chiropractor tables right there. He's got others over here, and we'll do a tour of the office when the interview's over. He's got an awesome setup here. We'll see all the different equipment and therapies that New Life Chiropractic offers. So yeah, thanks for telling that story. I have a relatively similar story. People who have been following my YouTube channel recently know that I had a really bad injury. Mine was from basketball when I was 19, and I just never healed it properly. I went to Dr. Brandon Thomas down in Santa Cruz earlier this year. He did some great chiropractic work on my ankle, knee, and shoulder and gave me exercises to do, sports chiropractic. I think that combined with my stem cells that I got really helped me heal dramatically. It's hard to even believe. I understand if people don't believe it, but this is like incredible that I'm about 80% better from chronic conditions that I kind of just started thinking we're never going to get better. So let's talk about what separates New Life Chiropractic from maybe other chiropractors, even in California, in 2019. What are you guys doing different? What separates you guys from other chiropractors?
One of the biggest things that separates us is we really focus on helping the whole person and healing them as a person, which means that not only is their symptoms or whatever brought them in going to go away, but the goal is to get them as healthy as possible to express their optimum health potential, which requires a number of other things. So in that case, our office is quite a bit unique. We're actually a max living office, which is a network of chiropractors across the country who have the highest level training in not just specific corrective care chiropractic, but also other areas of health like better nutrition, supplementation, detoxify methods, how to exercise and move better, ergonomics, how to keep a healthy mindset. It's these essentials of health that really address the key stresses that affect most people, which is emotional, physical, chemical. And these stresses create damage and interference to the normal systems of the body, specifically the brain and the nervous system. And ultimately, our bodies are designed to repair, regulate, and regenerate themselves.
Right.
And under optimum conditions, that's exactly what's going to happen. So the reason why your body healed from all things that you did is because you allowed for optimum function, which is really what chiropractic is all about at its deepest level, which is really where we focus. So a lot of people, when they go to chiropractors, it's still symptom-based. They go in because they had an accident or injury. They go in because they have neck pain or back pain or headaches. And the goal is to feel better, and if that's the chiropractor's approach, symptom-based relief type of a care, then that's short-term. So you may get some relief from that, certainly, but it's not fixing the underlying issues. It's not getting a functional correction. So where we really differ is we look at the entire person, and we're actually able to measure the output function of the nervous system through a number of specific types of tests, through state-of-the-art nerve system scans like heart rate variability, EMG, thermography scans. We do very specific digital motion x-rays so we can see the proper alignment of the spine, what's working, what's not, and what areas we really want to focus on, because the spine itself has an ideal structure and an ideal function. When it's in that proper structure and function the way it should, you have 100% expression of health through the brain and the nervous system. Therefore, the body is able to repair, regenerate, heal itself on its own naturally, without drugs and surgeries and a lot of the dangerous medical interventions full of side effects and adverse effects that are very common with medical care these days. People come to us wanting a natural drug-free solution. So when they come in, we're able to take a look at the entire person. That's how we're getting level of results far above the common, my back pain went away, to I'm off 5 medications,
Right.
I lost 40 pounds, I'm reversing disease processes. I mean, really anything is possible under ideal conditions if you do the right things for long enough to allow the body to heal. So I have a lot of people that actually come from hours away to get care in our office. Many people who are here multiple times per week, people who come in and just pay out of pocket because insurance doesn't cover this level of care. They'll even have insurance coverage for chiropractic, but they come here instead because they're so limited with the care they're able to receive from their insurance, because it's still part of that medical-based symptom relief model, not the corrective, restorative type of a model. And when you pair that with the other essentials of health that we teach and help people with in the office, it's such a unique thing that is not really available in many areas. And that really what sets us apart from the average chiropractic office, other medical doctors, or even other healthcare providers, is we're really focused on taking care of the whole person and giving them natural drug-free solutions to ultimately help their body function at its best and heal itself.
I love it. And, a few things that I heard there is a focus on the whole body and healthcare. And really, we call America a healthcare system. It's more of a sick care and trauma care system in most cases, where
Absolutely.
people wait until there's a problem. And a lot of times they're waiting till the very end stage of that problem, where the symptoms are just too much and they just can't live their normal life and they have to get help. And so you guys focused on the whole body, keeping people healthy. Also, if there is some type of chronic trauma or pain, you guys are helpful with improving that, but then getting people back to a normal state of health and then keeping them in that state of health. Is that all pretty fair to say?
That's absolutely right. A couple key things to understand there from what you talked about is it is very common for people to judge their health based upon symptoms or how they feel, or maybe the results of their annual physical from their doctor, or whatever tests come back on a regular basis. A couple key important things that everyone should understand about health is that your nervous system is the only thing that can actually detect any type of symptom, and it's just a signal sent to your brain. The thing is, only about 10% of your nervous system even detects symptoms or pain. So you could have a major issue going on in your body and you don't feel it. I mean, this is the thing with most chronic health issues, right? How does heart disease feel?
Right.
How does cancer feel as it's developing? How does Alzheimer's feel as your brain is degenerating? How does diabetes feel as you're starting to lose pancreatic function? You don't feel any of that stuff, right? You don't feel it till end-stage disease, because you have to lose 40% of normal function before a symptom shows up. So by the time you feel pain or a symptom or a health issue can be detected by modern tests, you're already way over here in a state of sickness, right? And that's when medicine kicks in. It's not about preventative health. It's not about measuring function or true health and healing. It's all about, well, where's the symptom coming from, putting a label on that, and then treating that symptom or disease with some type of medication or medical system, which doesn't really affect the cause of why it happened in the first place. It only manages the disease at best, and most of the time just masks the symptoms. That's why if you ever watched a drug commercial, I'm sure you've seen those, right?
What are those?
Yeah, you can't watch TV without it, or open a magazine, or go down the street. But if you pay attention, what is the last 10, 15 seconds? What is the bottom paragraph? It's always a disclaimer of all the side effects, all the adverse effects, all the things that are going to happen.
Bleeding and death.
It's pretty crazy, right? And it makes you think like, well, why would I ever do this?
Right.
It's because they're great marketers.
Right.
They have a great system. They spend millions of dollars a day marketing this to us as the solution, when really it's actually causing more harm than good.
It's also the easy solution, like popping a pill. You're talking about putting in work, coming in, educating yourself.
Got to do something.
You got to do something. Oh man, now I have to do something. This is tough. Like if you're actually watching still, then it's like, all right, you're doing something. You're educating yourself. And
that's right.
It takes work. Part of what I wanted to say here is, this is not easy. I mean, look at the guy. He's in great shape, right? This doesn't just happen. This isn't just genetic. This is work every day. It's education. It's a growth mindset, and that's what I feel like we have in common, and people that I want to surround myself with. I'm sure you're the same there. Mm-hmm. And that's what this channel is all about, is about really having a growth mindset, trying to get better, find the right answers, and do it in the most natural, healthy way.
That's right.
Risk management. Keeping the risk low of like what you're going to be doing, with the benefits being as high as possible.
Exactly. I mean, being sick isn't easy either. Being in pain all the time, being below your optimum potential, you're just really not the best version of yourself, So whatever is important to you, even if health isn't your highest priority, right? Everything else that's important to you is dependent on you being healthy. So if it's important for you to be the best at your job, or you enjoy sports and activities, you want to be the best family person, whatever that is, you got to be healthy to be able to do that effectively, because otherwise your mood is altered, your ability to do these kinds of activities long term at a high level is altered, your ability to focus and perform, your energy, your focus, attention is all based upon how healthy you are. And when you're taking these drugs, or you have health conditions, or your body's just not in optimum function, all these things suffer, and maybe you get away with it for a little while and you kind of just deal with it or do your best thinking you're doing well, but over time you can see that all these things start to slip and you start to lose those away. And for many people, it's common to where health completely interferes with their life, where they're not even able to do their life anymore because they are too sick, or people are losing their life early because of these types of things, or spending tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on medical bills for problems that suddenly come up when they thought they were okay or were doing some of the right stuff. This is when you take a preventative approach that, with all things possible, you never have 100% perfect, but you're setting yourself up for success. Just like anything else, if you're doing things on a regular basis to build health and, to create yourself as a healthy person, healthy lifestyle, and you're doing a number of things, it's not just one thing. I don't do just chiropractic. I don't just exercise. I do a number of things in many different areas, a lot of the stuff that you talk about as well, to set myself up for success for me and my family, which helps me show up at my best in every other area to be successful in life.
I love it. And since you kind of ended there with family, let's talk about how you guys focus on not just adults, but also children for chiropractic at all different stages. A lot of people who know about chiropractic might not know about these details, so I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love working with kids and families because really their potential for health and healing is so much higher than ours. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. Like the innate healing ability of the kids is just amazing. And we're all designed with this innate intelligence, this inborn intelligence that really takes the forces of daily life that are ultimately destructive. Things from gravity to toxins in the air and water, self-inflicted chemical toxicity and pain and physical stresses from accidents and injuries. See, all these things affect your body's ability to adapt to the environment and heal and stay healthy. When you're a child, you don't have as many of these things built up, although it is getting a lot worse now for kids, which is why we're seeing so many more health issues with kids.
It's really terrible.
It really is terrible. that chiropractic is so important because the most neurological development actually happens from 0 to 2. And at the core of what we do, it's all about the brain and the nervous system. And by age 7, we now know through research and studies that issues with the spine and nervous system that affects normal function can have a lifelong effect on health and healing for that person for the rest of their life.
Yep.
And many times they're not experiencing symptoms at this point for the reasons that I just talked about earlier. Many of the kids that come into our office are here because their parents learned the principle or they were referred in by somebody else, and they ultimately want their kids to be healthy. We do see kids come in with health issues, but it's not, neck pain or back pain. The reasons why you'd normally go to a chiropractor, it's because they're having digestive issues. They're having allergy problems. They're not sleeping well, behavioral issues. Sometimes special needs children are coming in and doing really, really well with care. A lot of babies come in who maybe have colic or ear infections, or they're having other types of health-related issues, problems with latching or breastfeeding, issues with cranial function, so many different things that nobody would think of a chiropractor does. But my wife and I, especially my wife, Dr. Catherine, has a lot of training in how to take care of babies, how to properly assess them for optimum function and development, how to take care of their little spines in a very specific way that allows it to develop as they should, taking care of moms during pregnancy, which is so huge. A lot of the medical care is make sure you get your ultrasound, make sure you're up to date on all your vaccines, make sure you're doing every medical procedure possible, yet we have the highest rate of infant mortality in the world and the highest rate of maternal mortality of all industrialized countries. So obviously that's not going so well.
Right.
Getting all your medical care during pregnancy basically sets you up for the highest rate of death in any other, healthy country in the world. So that's not really the way to go. Taking care of yourself and making sure your nervous system's in optimal function, your pelvis is balanced, everything is working the way that it should, that's the way to be able to do it. And that's the kind of stuff that we do and we look for. So it's very specific and there's a lot of training that goes into it. So I recommend every parent actually get their kids checked for any issues, and if there is a problem, get that corrected now so that they're able to develop properly and they can stay healthy. Because right now 25% of kids are on a medication. It's pretty crazy for a chronic condition too, not just like an antibiotic or something. These are chronic issues.
These pharmaceutical companies.
That's the goal.
I mean, it's a great business model. Let's be honest. I've been in business for a while now, and you want recurring customers.
That's right.
So if you're gonna fall into that trap, then you're gonna pay the price. So we're trying to get people out of that trap and get people educated. Right behind the camera here, our camerawoman is my beautiful wife, Lauren. She is about 6 months pregnant right now, so hopefully your wife, Dr. Kat, and the co-founder of New Life Chiropractic will be able to give her a little bit of adjustment and some more training. We've been speaking with you guys about that. We're really excited that we're on this journey and that hopefully we'll be creating a superhuman chiropractic excellence. So thanks for sharing those details. Let's talk about some other things in general health. Let's maybe move away from chiropractic specifically for a while, but talk about other things that chiropractors tend to agree upon. I've heard you on your YouTube channel, which, by the way, we'll have in the description below links to Dr. Tim Smith and New Life Chiropractic social media links, their YouTube, all those fun things so you can find them. But I've heard you talk about sleep and some other things that we completely agree on from what I've seen. Let's talk about the most simple things that people can be doing, getting back to the basics of life, things that we know, right? Let's talk about how important sleep is. I'll let you start it off.
Well, sleep is absolutely essential, and right now the number one symptom in America is actually fatigue because people aren't sleeping, or even if they are sleeping, they're not getting very good sleep. If you kind of look at human history, really over the last 50 to 100 years has been this technological boom which created all these issues that never really existed. Since the beginning of time, people would wake up and go to sleep with the sun. And we have this circadian rhythm, which is based upon these day-night cycles. What puts you to sleep, wakes you up, balances the hormones of your body. Without getting too scientific about it, we have all these different types of hormones that are part of normal function that tells your body when it's time to go to sleep, that tells your body when it's time to wake up, kind of regulates normal function. And under these optimal conditions, the body does what it's supposed to do. You go to sleep, you wake up, you get rest, everything is good. But now we have all the artificial lightning, so you can stay up all day. We have people that work the graveyard shift. There's a reason why it's called the graveyard shift, because you're not sleeping and it throws your whole body out of pattern, and makes you super sick ultimately. We have all this technology, so anytime you're watching TV or you're on a phone or a computer, it emits these blue lights. These lights make your brain think that it's still awake, so it could be midnight, but your brain thinks it's the middle of the day, which means it's not time to go to sleep. Therefore, it's not secreting melatonin, it's not calming down your cortisol levels, it's not putting your body in a state of rest, and you wonder why you can't go to sleep at night. And all these things are happening that's interfering with that. We have all these lights. It's supposed to be dark. You should be in a pitch dark room. I use blackout curtains. If I go someplace where I can't do that, I use eye shades. Because every 90 minutes we go through a cycle of REM sleep. So your eyes actually open. REM stands for rapid eye movement. You don't notice this, and a lot of times you don't wake up, but your brain wakes up and it takes you out of the sleep cycle. So if you have too many lights in your room, or you have your alarm clock there, or your cell phone's on and the EMF waves are interfering with your brain frequency, all these things start happening, and then boom, you're not getting sleep. So even if you're setting aside the 8 hours of sleep, you wake up, you're still tired. And that's under optimum conditions, because most people think they can operate at like 5 or 6, and they're up late doing these other things, or they're working, or they got to get up early to do things, whatever that is. It's really affecting with that normal cycle. And we do need sleep, because that's when the brain actually rests and detoxes, and the nervous system speeds up and repairs and regenerates overnight. So just think like if you never shut your computer off, right? If you never shut it down, the performance starts to goes down. Programs don't open, things start malfunctioning, and it's not that the computer's bad, it's that it never gets to rest.
Yep.
That's kind of how your brain is. If it doesn't get the chance to rest, it starts malfunctioning, your focus is off, you're more likely to have accidents and injuries, you're more likely to gain weight, your immune system is weaker, digestive system is off, you're more likely to have pain and chronic inflammation. All kinds of issues start coming up, and eventually it gets diagnosed with insomnia, sleep apnea. They got to throw a label on it. Yep, there's a drug for that.
Yeah.
There's a drug to put you asleep. There's a drug to wake you up. There's a drug to do this or that. Now you got depression. There's a drug for that, right? I mean, it just goes on down the line. It still doesn't fix the core root issue that you're not setting yourself up for optimum sleep environments, or your body's just stuck in a chronic stress state where sleep really doesn't happen. There's a lot of underlying issues. There's things that can be addressed. In fact, one of the biggest things we see with people, honestly, within the first month of their care is they're sleeping better.
Yep. That's what I hear about a lot of natural treatments in general, is that all of a sudden people start sleeping better. I've done a lot of research on stem cells. People were not expecting this. They maybe had a problem with their knee or whatever. They get stem cells injected locally and maybe IV, and then all of a sudden they say, I was sleeping 5 hours a night the last 2 years. All of a sudden I'm sleeping like 9 hours a night. So this is what your body needs. You should always let your body sleep as much as you possibly can. I don't use an alarm clock in the morning unless I absolutely have to for a meeting or for something. I love everything you stated there. You're on a roll. I loved it. There are a couple of things to point out. The suprachiasmatic nerve is what he was referring to as like this internal clock that you have. You have 2 of them running, and then Adenese is this like pressure that kind of builds up. It's a chemical all day. So you have these 2 things combining, and if you don't have those working properly, you're not going to want to go to sleep at the right time. And then you're totally right. My wife, we just moved here to this area, to Folsom. She just bought blackout drapes, and now we've already been sleeping better since we had those blackout drapes installed. We have the eye mask and stuff, but even your skin cells have sensors for light. So they've done studies in sleep labs where they put, a little bit of light under. Oh, jeez, I hit the thing.
Oops.
I was holding up my foot. But they put light underneath somebody's knee, and all of a sudden they wake up. It's just incredible, like how intelligent your body and the nervous system is. So it's not just your eyes. Temperature needs to be lowered. The sleep scientists recommend 62 to 68 degrees. I was shocked to learn that. That's way colder than I've ever
heard that
been
before
sleeping.
too, like 66, 68. That is pretty cold.
Yeah, everybody's a little different, but that's what the sleep science. So there's a book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. He's a sleep scientist at UC Berkeley and also Google sleep scientist. I did a book review. I'll have it in the link below of his book. But my general point is, we'll move away from sleep, but the general point is that there are things that you can do that are completely free, completely natural. Just take a little bit of time to learn about them and build those new habits that can get you moving in the right direction without drugs, without the medication freedom trash can, the medication freedom trash can being a part of your life. And then incorporating chiropractic, you'll get even better results.
That's right.
So what are some other things about chiropractic that you feel some folks just might not be aware of or is misunderstood? And how have you kind of seen those things change in your, decade-long or so career?
I think some of the biggest things that still is kind of confusing about chiropractic is that it is kind of the treatment of symptoms or pain or an issue. People are just so used to that, just with the training we've had from the time we're little children. It's like you go in with a problem, when it's better or fixed or symptoms go away, like you're better. But you think about that, it's really, that's not better. That's just out of the acute zone. You're out of the fire, but you're still not healthy.
You don't feel the symptoms anymore, but
exactly.
Yeah.
You're not healthy. You're 60% of your health potential or somewhere around there, which is far from being well. Chiropractic actually works best on a preventative basis, which is really cool. And most people don't get that because it is still symptom-based and they only think of going to the chiropractor when they're in pain or they have an issue. But really, chiropractic works best when you're not in pain or not having issues to help your body stay in an optimum function. I know for myself, I get regular chiropractic care on at least a weekly basis. And a lot of times it's not because I'm in pain or I have an issue, it's because I want to be at my optimum function. Because for your body to adapt to the stresses of everyday life, for you to perform at the peak level, you have to have a healthy brain and nervous system free of interference. When your spine is no longer functioning correctly, this creates a condition called subluxation, which is kind of unique unless you go to even specific chiropractors, and it's something that no medical doctor really looks for, but this is a huge problem. In fact, I would say it's one of the biggest problems in our country today because this directly interferes with normal function of the brain and nervous system, because your brain communicates to the body through the nervous system, and things can't even function without this connection. So if you have an interruption in that connection, like a bad cell phone signal, or an interruption in what you would call maybe like a TV antenna back in the day, your brain just doesn't get the right signal, so things don't work the correct way, and your body gets in a state of dysfunction and stress. And this is how things break down. I mean, this is how you get injured in the first place. This is how health conditions start coming up. And those things are never normal. There's always a reason why. And one of the biggest things we focus on is finding and correcting cause. So if we can get to cause,
right,
help your body function better, that's how you get and stay well. And I would say a majority of our patients, probably 80% or more, are here on a wellness basis, which means they're coming in on a regular basis, not symptom-based, to be healthy because they don't want to be sick. They don't want to wait until something breaks down. And what we find is they go to the doctor less, they're not on drugs, their family is healthier, their performing level, they're happier overall. Like they're just living a better life, and it's actually less expensive than your standard medical care. People think of chiropractic as like a luxury or expensive. Really, it's the cheapest form of healthcare you can get. We can correct a lot of chronic issues in a relatively short period of time for a reasonable amount of money. It costs more to get a single spinal injection. It costs more to refill your drugs every single month. It costs more to pay for your insurance plan that's really only there when you're at your worst on an emergency basis, that never does anything to actually get you healthy or prevent a problem. So you're just throwing money away every single month that's going towards that. And then that's money you could be investing in your health. So kind of clearing that up, that chiropractic is a long-term thing. It works best on a preventative basis, and it's actually very affordable and can fit right within your lifestyle. You start to understand those things and use it correctly, you're going to get much more benefits from it.
So true preventative health care actually costs less in most cases than the health care that most people think of, which is really more trauma and sick care.
That's right.
That's the key message that we want people to understand. And I'd love to hear, I haven't personally researched this, but I've always wondered, because I'm a longevity researcher, is there any data, or do you know just from all the chiropractors that you know, of any data correlating longevity with longer term chiropractors? Because the science has been around now for over 100 years, but it's growing and there's more people in it. So I wonder, is there any institution keeping up with that data?
There is coming to light a lot more. We're having this kind of focus where it's more of a brain, nervous system, optimum function type focus. For the longest time, a lot of the studies were actually like back pain studies.
Exactly. Yeah, so
unfortunately, yeah. So there are plenty of studies out there, and the bread and butter of chiropractic, supposedly, of we help with back pain and this and that. Those studies still show chiropractic is the most effective modality with the greatest results at the cheapest cost. So even at the most basic level, it's still better than drugs. It's still better than surgery and PT and all these other things. Chiropractic always wins as the option for that. So even at that level, if you're just looking to get pain issues taken care of, it's still really going to help you as a great natural alternative. But some of the cool stuff that's coming out now is actually talking about nerve system function. So there's a few different institutes that are really doing this at a high level. One of my favorites is James Chestnut. He's a great researcher. He's actually from Canada. Does all kinds of research about chiropractic and naturally healthy living, what he calls innate living. Really cool stuff. He has a regular newsletter, all that kind of stuff. Heidi Havoc has a Havoc Institute is doing a lot of stuff on brain nervous system functions, showing how the brain nervous system is so intimately connected with the function of the spine and how it affects so many different areas on a preventative basis. And a lot of their studies are not based upon pain. They're all measuring outputs of function. People are breathing better, people are performing better, they're stronger. So many cool things with chiropractic. And there's a few different studies that I tell patients about all the time that are really huge. One of the ones that was done a few years back, which they actually looked at telomere length, which has a lot to do with longevity and genetic aging. And what they found were people with regular chiropractic care actually saw lengthening of those telomeres, which means they were slowing down and reversing the aging process. That's pretty cool, because people are spending tens of thousands of dollars on these, amazing drugs and therapies and hyperbaric chambers and, all this biohacking type stuff, which does have validity for sure, but we don't all have $100,000, or we can't fly to Spain or Mexico to get some of these kinds of treatments that are available there. But you can go to your local chiropractor, and research shows with regular care, which is the kind of care that I'm talking about, not the symptom relief care, not the 6 visits on your insurance plan, but like regular care on a regenerative basis, is showing these kinds of changes. And there's long-term studies that are coming out where they're taking hundreds and hundreds of patients and tracking them over years. And one that I love specifically, I don't remember the name of the author, but I can put it in the links. They talk about the 7-year study where they look at senior citizens, actually, thousands of them. And what they found was there's one group that got chiropractic care on a regular basis, which is at least a couple times a month on a regular basis, and another group of similar lifestyle, everything else age, that did get chiropractic care, and they went to their doctor and just followed what their doctor said. And they found that the chiropractic group, they took 85% less pharmaceutical drugs. They went to the hospital 60% less, and they had 60% less surgeries. And when they did have an issue, they had 60% less days where they stayed because they actually recovered faster. And if you really read it, they lived healthier, they thought it was more beneficial, because when you're doing things on a health basis, you just make better decisions.
It all compounds when you're making better decisions,
That's
just
right.
like it compounds when you're making negative decisions.
Exactly.
That's the way health works.
And if you think that I can just do what I want and then I just take a pill to fix the problem, I have heartburn and I can just still eat pizza and burritos and drink beer and just take, Tums and my heartburn goes away, versus like maybe I should focus on a more plant-based alkaline diet and my heartburn goes away on its own. These kind of things, it's just a different way of thinking. And these are some of the cool things that we see with the longevity of chiropractic, and more of that's starting to come out. And I can't wait to see where that goes, because this is the future of healthcare, is natural care.
I love it. The one thing you mentioned earlier with the lengthening of telomeres, I interviewed Dr. Bill Andrews a couple months ago, actually almost exactly the day. It was May 30th. He led the team that discovered the telomerase enzyme, and that's a little enzyme that is a microbioprinter that prints out new telomere lengths. So that's the only way to actually lengthen your telomeres, because every time your cells replicate, they shorten. So it'd be interesting, and there's, what he says is they've never been able to find an enzyme that can actually turn on telomerase enough to lengthen your telomeres more than they're shortening. So this is a little complex, but what I'm saying is that every time your cells replicate, your telomeres shorten. That just happens. It's called the end telomere replication problem. Basically, the RNA can't copy the DNA perfectly to get that telomere length. But you can turn on telomerase high enough to get it to print out more of the telomere lengths. So I'd be really interested to see that study and see if the telomeres actually lengthened, or if these people just had longer telomeres than their biological age. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Did their telomeres actually lengthen? Did the study show that? Or did the average 60-year-olds in this study living that lifestyle just have dramatically longer telomeres than other 60-year-olds? Does that make sense?
I can give you a link to the study, and we could look at it real good. From a lot of stuff that I read from it, it's actually causing some lengthening of it,
Okay.
which is really cool because you're getting some regenerative benefits. And I think really the reasons why I see that happening is because we're reducing oxidative stress, which is what causes your cells to turn over faster. But also, a lot of people are stuck in a chronic stress state just because their nervous system is in a sympathetic overdrive all the time.
Right.
And by balancing the nervous system with a lot of the regenerative chiropractic care, puts your body into more in a state of repair and regeneration. So I think when your body's not having to work overtime on so many things, it can actually focus on changing. So maybe it was people who were just in such a stressed state and they started changing it and they saw that the change happens in there. We have to read through it a little bit more. I think it's pretty cool that it is having an effect even at that level.
Definitely, and it's also important to state that this is a really complex subject matter. I've had my telomeres tested. There's many different companies that measure telomeres, and they all say we have the best technology to do it. Some only measure white blood cells, some measure others. So it is complex, but nonetheless, it is definitely exciting that even at the very worst case scenario, their telomeres are just longer than the cohort of people who are the same age. So are there any other things before we do the tour real quick and show some of the wonderful facility here and some of the different services that you guys offer that you wanted to talk about right now?
I think one of the biggest things I always try to instill into people when it comes to being healthy, no matter which route that you take, is really focus on an optimum function. One of the things that we really focus hard on in our office and with Max Living is empowering people to live a healthier life naturally and really have faith in your body's ability to heal. We're so taught that the body is weak, that you can't do it because of your genetics or because you're too old or because of this or that or your family history, and that there's nothing you can do about your diabetes or this problem or that problem. There's no solution or cure. This is untrue. We know now that through studies from Harvard, through so many different things, that about 95 to 98% of common health issues are lifestyle related. They're based upon how healthy you are, how you live your life, the stresses you're under. Very little bit is genetic. And we look into genetics and epigenetics, like the stuff that Bruce Lipton is doing and so many other things.
Right.
You can find that you can even change genetic expression by changing environment. So if you change the environment your body's in from the inside, you can change this genetic expression and change your future. So really being empowered to take care of your own health and not think that it has to come from a pill or a drug or a doctor's office. Obviously, use your smarts. If you're having a heart attack, don't come in to get adjusted, right?
If your arm gets cut off, don't come see Dr.
There's
Smith.
emergency situations where medicine is great, and that's really where they shine, And thankfully, we live in America that I can have a life-saving procedure when I need it. But when it comes to being healthy and chronic issues, medicine doesn't have the solution. It doesn't exist. It doesn't come from a pill. It can only come from within. So if you start trusting and having faith in your body and really start looking at ways that you can live a healthier life and make that a priority, your life is just going to be better. Chiropractic is one of the many things to be able to do that. And what I ask people is who's your drug-free doctor? Where do you go? If your kid has an ear infection and you don't want to take antibiotics, where do you go? What do you do? Well, you bring them in to get adjusted by the chiropractor or help the body heal itself. If you're having a chronic problem and you don't want to get surgery or you don't want to be taking a pill anymore, well, maybe you can actually get help from your chiropractor to help the body heal itself, and then poof, the problems go away on their own. And these are the kind of things that we see every day. So start taking your health to a different level. Take responsibility for it. Make it a priority, and you will see that your life improves.
I love it. An empowering, awesome message to end it. Dr. Smith, really appreciate it. Stick around. We're going to do a tour of the office.
Nice. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Dr. Tim Smith. I want to take you on a tour of our office so you can see how we're doing some of the things that we talked about in the interview there. So why don't you come on in. All right, so this is our main reception area. This is where everybody comes as they get introduced to our office. This is our kids area. We are actually a family office. So we have a lot of kids that come in as patients. And when moms and other people come in, their kids can be over here playing while they're out getting their regular chiropractic care. If you want to come into the main room here, before everyone gets adjusted, we do a number of warm-up exercises. So you see these things here on the wall. This is actually doing a cervical traction of the neck, which decompresses the brainstem, the spinal cord. It hydrates the discs of the neck and strengthens the things that move and support your spine and the neck and the upper back. And then over here, we have these little discs. So you actually sit on these, and we do specific motions of the spine. This is hydrating the discs of your lower and mid back, as well as getting more oxygen and blood flow to the muscles, and increases cerebral spinal fluid to detox the brain. So we actually do these things to help people prepare their body for a better adjustment. It actually can even slow down and stop the aging process of the spine done on a regular basis, which is pretty cool. And then over here is where we actually do the adjustments. So we have multiple different rooms, and we use these special tables here. So all these tables can actually move in different directions. They can go left and right and up and down. And then all the pieces can raise and move, which actually allows us to do scoliosis correction, advanced corrective chiropractic care. And we use a number of different instruments as well to break up fibrosis and scar tissue, to calm down tight muscles neurologically, and to specifically correct the normal curve and alignment of the spine, which is pretty awesome. Then after we do an adjustment, we do what's called neuromuscular reeducation. So we want to change patterns of the spine and nervous system. So if you look over here, we have different types of weights. All types of body weighting, which you can wear in different areas. So if you look over here, this kind of has some examples of what the body weighting might look like. So people wear these different weights in different patterns based upon their individual type of issues. And then we have them stand on balance discs. We use whole body vibration, which you can see right over here. So what this does, you can see just some of the benefits that are on here, but really this strengthens the body. This retrains the brain and nervous system. It helps us with postural correction. Really, it sets in the adjustment after we make that correction for a neurological change. So every time people come in, they're doing warm-up exercises, they're doing soft tissue therapy, they're doing spinal corrective care, and they're doing neurological postural correction to really get the most out of every single visit. And to know we're doing the right stuff, we take on-site x-rays with everybody. So we actually take digital x-rays, and we do specific type of motion films to see exactly what's working, what's not. Each one of these rooms, we're able to do different types of evaluations. If you come on in here, this is where we actually do scans of the feet to see how the feet are affecting the function of the body. We do Tanita scans, which is basically metabolic type scans to look at the function of the metabolic system, how the body's aging, things like that. And then next door, this is where we do some really cool stuff. Here we have this insight technology. So this is actually some of the highest level stuff that they use through NASA that looks at things like heart rate variability. It looks at EMG, it looks at thermography. So these are nerve scans that we can do for our patients, which actually will tell how much stress the nervous system's under, how it's adapting to stresses, how the muscle systems and the regular organ systems are functioning. We take all this stuff into account before we even take care of anyone. So we're doing physical exams, we're doing nerve scans, we're doing x-rays prior to anyone starting care, and then we actually have a plan of corrective care based upon that. And in addition to the corrective chiropractic care, this main room, as you can see, this is where we do our health education. So we're doing workshops in the office, teaching people about health essentials such as nutrition, detoxification, exercise and fitness, healthy lifestyle type things, so that they can help incorporate this into their life as part of a healthy lifestyle to be able to get and stay healthy. And the last thing as we're on our way out here is our resource area. So we have a number of different resources here. One is the book that I actually wrote last year called Unleash the Healer Within. This is a guide to why people are sick and what you can do to immediately take control of your health naturally. A lot of the principles that we talked about. And then also we give a lot of this to people, the Align Your Health book. So this is actually a guide through Max Living on how to totally change your lifestyle to a healthier, preventative type lifestyle. And we support that with some naturally healthy products to help instill the principles that we use here, and chiropractic corrective tools, which can actually help realign the spine at home, in addition to the active care that we're doing here. This is what allows us to give the highest level of chiropractic care, as well as help people live a healthier lifestyle and correct a lot of the things that caused their problems in the first place, so that they can really live a better life.
Check the description below. We're going to have links to these books in here. We'll have links to all of Dr. Tim Smith's and New Life Chiropractic's social media, website, everything you need. So check the description below.
Thanks for joining us on the office tour. Look forward to seeing you here one day in the office. And if you're out of the area, we're going to have some links in how you can find a Max Living office just like this. to where you can take you and your family for the type of care we've been talking about.
One mind, one love, one heart, one soul. One life, one chance, one head.
Let's dance inside, let's dance for a while. Heaven can wait, we're only watching the skies. Hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop the bomb or not? Let us die young or let us live forever. We don't have the power, but we never say never. Sitting in a sand pit, life is a short trip. The music's for the sad men. Can you imagine when the race is run? Turn our golden faces into the sun. Praising our leaders, we're getting in tune. The music's played by the madman. To be forever young. Do you really want to live forever?
One life,
forever
one love,
and ever.
one soul.
Untitled.